Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Pleasure Pulse. I'm your host, Roma Richardson, and I'm so happy to have you join me here for another conversation, another Tuesday on sex and something. But as usual, before we get into tonight's discussion, we'll take a short break so you can let everybody know that we are live. And I think we are also streaming tonight. So you could find us on radio, find us on YouTube. As always, you can find us via ZIZ's website, via Listen Radio or any of those options. So yeah, we'll take a short break so you can let everybody know that Pleasure Pulse is live. And then when we come back, we'll introduce our guests and we'll get into tonight's discussion. So stay tuned. Welcome back to Pleasure Pulse. You're tuned into ZIZ 96.1 and on YouTube, I believe Facebook, definitely YouTube. We're streaming tonight and our website. And I am joined here by some guests, some new, some not so new, first timers. And so, as usual, I like to give my guests the opportunity to introduce themselves. So you can say whatever it is you want about yourself. So please introduce yourselves.
Well, hi, everybody. Good night. My name is Nadia Mills, and I am a pelvic health physical therapist. This is my second time coming in to talk with Roma on Pleasure Pulse, and thank you guys for tuning in. And we're here to talk about women's pleasure, basically.
It's such a pleasure to be here. This is my first time here with Roma Richardson on Pleasure Pulse. My name is Mohini Devi, and I am a transformational guide, a yoga instructor, a breathwork facilitator, and ultimately someone that loves to facilitate as an entrepreneur and a mom. So that pretty much sums it up.
Okay, thank you so much for joining me here. We're talking about women's wellness and pleasure. Pleasure Pulse, it fits, it tracks, makes sense, all of that. And you are having a specific activity that is focusing all on women's wellness. Tell me about that activity that you're having.
Okay, so Sunrise and Stillness was actually created through me and my friend Anastasia, and we realized that there was a need for more awareness that wasn't focused on the mind, but focused on the body. We realized that there was a bit of a disconnection that was happening in the West, even here in our Caribbean culture, where we are sometimes just forced more to be into that masculine energy as opposed to the feminine energy. And that's how this creation was born. We wanted to bring awareness to what stillness actually looked like and what it felt like, what was the practices behind it needed to achieve that. And how is it that we move the attention and the direction from the mind and into the body, into the soul, into the depths of the body, where we are letting go of the mental clutter and feeling. That's how this started.
Mm.
And it has grown so quickly. It's like this thing came together like magic, really. And we're addressing 5 pillars. So we are talking about the mind, as you said, the body, the breath, pelvic health, which is, there's both male and female challenges with pelvic health, but again, culturally, this is a topic that we usually don't address, and it does affect our well-being overall, more than people even realize or understand. And so there is some clinical components, me, and then there's yoga, breathwork, those kind of things that, like she says, stills your mind and your body. So we're looking at ourselves holistically, not in pieces, because that's how we tend to look at life here. And so we're bringing every component together that will give our audience a little bit of what they need to really live a balanced life.
Okay, so feminine energy. I kind of want to go over there, but it's also like we have an hour and lots of other things to talk about. But if you could just summarize why you want to focus in on feminine energy, especially. I mean, you talked about what's going on in this part of the world, the energy and practices and approach that people try to push. That is all very patriarchal, rooted in, you know, urgency, disconnection from your body, disconnection from community, all of those things. So I don't know if that's me answering the question, but tell me more about feminine energy and how especially that relates to pleasure. Yeah.
No, you go. That's
Both
your
of you can go.
I'll go second.
Okay.
But that's her thing right there.
So there's this ancient Chinese. It's called the qi, the energy within the body. Where we're not just a physical part of the body. We're not just a mental part of the body. We're energetic beings, and usually that qi becomes off when there's stress, when there's dietary spaces that we're not pretty fulfilling. It could be something as easy as our moon cycle is coming, which is our period of the month, and we're feeling a lot of pain and a lot of strain. And usually it's because we're pushing ourselves past the grain. We're pushing ourselves to keep doing, to keep going, to keep thinking, trying to figure out this to-do list. But peace is not at the end of a to-do list. Peace is within. And most of the time when we're going so fast, we forget or we don't even have the capacity to slow it down. When you're slowing it down, we realize that the feminine energy is the unseen. The masculine energy is the seen energy, the practical energy, the do energy. But the feminine energy is that silent, nurturing, intuitive energy. That part that sometimes it's like it's a woman who created that, or it's a woman who knows that, or it's a woman who feels that. And so that's why they kind of compare it sometimes when they say, wow, there's some, and you could tell like there is a space where someone is doing a lot and maybe not feeling a lot, you know? But most of the times the feminine energy needs to feel, but we need the space to feel. We need the space to heal. Just like when we become a mother, you see how when we become a mother, we get slowed down sometimes in those couple months of raising our child. And sometimes when I'm speaking to moms, they're like, I don't even want to go back to work because we are meant to nurture, not just that outside of us, but that inside of us. And that is the unseen. We can't see it. We can see the practical, the masculine, the doing. I have to do this, I have to do that. But ever so often, because we're doing so much, we forget to feel. We forget to tap into what it feels like. What it feels like. We're so in the head and not in the mind that we're not getting to the depths of what's happening in our bodies, in our mind, and in our world. Usually we become disconnected when we keep going and going and going, because the feminine energy is meant to stay in that space where we're grounded and connected to prayer, to ritual, to devotion, to nurturing. They say usually you can watch a garden, you could tell a woman's garden, how is it blooming? You could tell if she's nurturing that. You could see if her mind is not at peace. You could see because she's doing and going too much. And that is the masculine energy. That is the patriarchal energy. Keep going, keep doing. But that doesn't feel good on us women. We're meant to sit down and be still and receive the messages from the energy around us. We're meant to feel.
I think that is also like a good connection to what you'll be talking about and focusing on pelvic health, because I know a lot of the conversations,
It's right now it seems like we're like two ends of the puzzle.
Doing the same work, yes.
We're doing it from different angles, because a lot of what she says is like within the Eastern culture. I come from a clinical Western perspective, but it's all the same thing. Is like so clinically, so what she's saying is women are not meant to constantly be in stress. We are meant to rest. We are meant to nurture. That is why our nature is cyclic. So there is a time for us to work. There's a time for us to rest. There's a time for us to nurture. And when you look at our natural cycles, you see that. However, in the society that we live now, like I say, we're forced into that masculine
capitalist one.
And health-wise, that is very detrimental, right? So that's where you end up with a lot of like chronic diseases, a lot of depression, a lot of just general malaise in women. And again, they'd be like, oh, well, women are so emotional. Well, we would be a little more balanced if we were allowed to really be in our feminine energy, like she's saying.
Okay. So, I mean, you've kind of painted a picture of the work that you do and the importance of the work that you do. But specifically for our context, why would you say activities like yours are important for women's wellness and pleasure? Because the Caribbean is a unique kind of space, right? Like Western, but also leans, I don't know, Eastern middle place with some things. We somewhere in the middle, right? Because people come to the Caribbean because they want somewhere that's slower, but not necessarily like completely slow, right? So it's like the picture of the Caribbean is that we lay on the beach. We lay on the beach all day, right? So yeah, tell me why you would say activities like yours are important for women's wellness and pleasure.
Well, for one, we, like I said, we know our society. So when tourists or visitors come, they have that relaxed atmosphere. But when you live here, you're constantly in that rush and that struggle. Let's basically say it, right? And because of that, like I say, we are not paying attention to what our bodies and our minds and our souls are saying to us. And so therefore, we're suffering, health-wise, mental-wise, sexual-wise. Because a lot of times, like, women will say, girl, I don't even feel any urges towards that, because you're so into your masculine energy, or you're so into all these other things that take you out of that part of your body that creates desire, that sex just doesn't become something that you're interested in anymore. And the reason this is important is because the topic is still so taboo here. Also, we'd be like, oh, well, that's not for us. That's for other people. But all of us, the three of us that have organized this, we are from here. And we understand that we need it too. And so we have come together. Like I said, everybody that we've kind of engaged with this, they're like, oh, that's a great idea. Yes, we need that. And so it's now for people here to realize, you matter too. The things that other people are enjoying and experiencing, you need that as well, for good quality of life.
So go ahead.
I was saying that between the busyness, between the hustle and the bustle, there's this ache sometimes that we have within us to do it all, to be it all. This we don't even want to maybe try something new because we're struggling to believe, oh, I may fail at it. This desire to be perfect and keep it all together. And this is where, even for the women that do it all, but also feel it all, when do we get the chance to pause and feel it all? And this is where the practices that we're having at this event comes into play. How can we teach what devotion looks like to the inner self, not the outside, but the inner self? What does that look like? Because we weren't taught these things. I remember growing up, I was taught, okay, go to school, doctor, lawyer, engineer.
Yeah.
We were not taught I remember as a little girl, I would have pain during my period, and it's like, you're going to school. We're not taught how to nurture our womb. We're not taught how to nurture our mind. We're not taught what it is to nurture our feminine beings. We're taught to go. We're taught to be in the busyness, achieve this, do that. But in between all of that is the breath, that very first that we took when we came, but we don't find that. How we're breathing is how we're living. How we're breathing is how we're thinking, But how is it, if we're not conscious of the breath, can we tap into what the body and the mind and the soul needs to feel that depth and be able to perform at our greatest capacity? There is a cycle of stagnation and burnout that exists. There is a cycle of lacking discernment that exists. We go through these cycles because we're not able to explore them and really understand them, which is why we need certain exercises. We need certain practices. It's like the air that we breathe. It's like the fact that we need to eat food every single day. Well, our mind needs that same stimulation and love and care like our bellies, for example.
And I wanted to add to that as well. It doesn't mean that we're saying, oh, don't do anything. Women are fully capable. We can be the lawyers, the doctors, all of that. But again, we have to understand that the way we do it shouldn't look like the way men do it. And it doesn't mean we're any less productive or any less, valuable. We are built differently, and we need to understand that.
Earlier, you talked about the importance of creating spaces. But you said, this is being done by us, for us. And, one of my questions was about that. And it's on the flyer too, rooted in heritage. Tell me more about what that means for an activity, an event like yours, practices like yours, to be rooted in heritage?
Well, okay, so Anastasia would be the one that will really go into depth with that. But so Anastasia Elliott, she's the owner of Sugartown Organics, and the products that she produces comes from a long line of like the women in her family. So before we were brought here, you know, before when we were in Africa, there were certain practices that our ancestors had. We knew medicine, we knew the sun, we knew like the cycles of the earth. And so when they came over with those practices. And a lot of that was taken away. But in some cases, a lot of it remains. And again, now we have a global society where we can connect back to that. And so a lot of what we're doing has some of that ancestral connection to Africa. A lot of what Mohini was talking about has like an Eastern cultural vibe to it. But like again, I'm talking clinically, she's talking spiritually.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It just comes in different packages. And so different cultures have preserved these things in different ways. And so we're kind of bringing in that African tradition, plus what we also know from the more popular Eastern culture, and then the Western medical approach.
Even if, in regards to heritage, for example, because I lived in America for a couple of years, and one of the things that used to come up quite often was, how is it that, well, what are you doing in America? We want to go there. You guys have all the herbs. You guys have all the natural foods. You guys are growing your food from the ground, picking your bushes from your backyards. You're making your teas every day. The teas that we have growing and picking is the teas that cost an arm and a leg.
In Whole Foods.
Exactly, you know, and Sprouts, okay?
Yeah.
And it's quite a bit of change. And so that's when I started realizing that everyone else kind of wanted to live the lifestyle that we were living down here, you know? But then I also realized, well, what does that really look like? How is that rooted in heritage? Because we're the one that has the nature that's filled up in the jungle with all the herbs that we need to ease our moon cycle, to tell the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system to calm it down. We can grow the lavender. We can grow the French sticky thyme. French sticky thyme grows all over this island, and French sticky thyme alleviates pain during childbirth and during your period. So it's really the knowledge that I believe that is rooted heritagely and culturally within us that some way, somehow has gotten lost. Because we've brought in all these different Western cultures, Western realizations, and Western traditions and adapted to it because it looked good. The fast food looks good. You know, being able to grab a cup of Starbucks coffee looks really good to get moving, but what does that look like for our bodies? And when we think back on what our parents used to tell us, girl, just go pick that bush and drink that, you know? We lost that. That is the heritage that we are rooted. And even if I really think about it, there is also a lot of focus on, for example, Rastafarianism in America. They love the Rastas. When you ask them why, they say, look at how they're chanting. Look at how they're eating from the earth. These we are all rooted here as Caribbean culture, as West Indian culture. These are our roots. This is who we are, eating from the earth and being able to sustain not off of fast food, but we grew up on cooked food all day, every day. Did you not? So it's like we've forgotten that, and we need to be reminded of what that looks like and how we are capable of achieving that, of how not being too sped up where you can't recognize that the gift is right in front of you.
So some of that will be part of the discussion at your activity. Okay. And it's interesting that you mentioned that too, because as an online person, I see a lot of the discussions that they're having, a lot of the things that are being marketed and sold. And I'm realizing that more and more you're seeing like things that we just go outside, package. Yeah. And they're for 20 US a bottle at this place, and there's like people making businesses out of things that we take for granted. People also waking up to the wisdom that exists within Caribbean, Black, African spaces too. That's just, I feel like it's an interesting time to be living, because there was a time when we were younger, whatever, when they were like, not those things, like use these things instead. I just find that really, especially things related to women's wellness. I feel like women's wellness Man,
Very
it's
much so.
exhausting.
Strong
Yeah.
awakening right now in that
Yeah, and I think, yeah, as you said, we don't have enough spaces here where we talk about, we ain't got enough grandmothers telling us
Right.
this bush for this
Yeah.
thing,
Right,
this
yeah.
bush ain't
Yeah.
safe,
The knowledge has
use
been
this
lost.
bush and this bush together.
Right.
Yeah, I
And the
feel
part
it.
of that problem is like, oh, take this pill instead.
Right.
So, and even that, a lot of medicine now
Is-
are now the
yeah.
herbs and it's a supplements
Yeah.
that we have growing in our backyard. So that's the thing is like, a lot of times you don't really value what you have until somebody else takes it away from you. And so we want to stop that from happening.
Yeah.
We want to revive those traditions because that's one of the things we were talking about is like they used to have women's circles like when we were little, grandmother down to the little child would sit and we'd have conversations and they would tell us stories and same thing. You go through and like, oh yeah, take that bush, take that. And we've lost all of that. And those things are very important because like you said, the rest of the world is now recognizing the value in it.
Yeah. I mean, that makes me think of another question. So you're having this activity, right? But what in the after? Like after the activity, how do you plan to sustain spaces like these? How do you plan to continue to share this kind of knowledge? What's on the horizon? That wasn't win at the end, and that wasn't. But I'm just curious. In the middle, asking about the future, but I'm just curious.
Like I said, this thing came together in like 2 months.
Okay.
Because everybody's like, oh yeah, that's great. So this is the first one, and it was like she was the one. She's like, okay, we have to have a second one this year. So I'm like, okay, how are we gonna have a second one? But this is how we're breaking it down. Right now, this is the reintroduction to who you are, what you need to be your most balanced self, and then the plan for the second one is who you are sexually, sensually. So first, we gotta know us first because that's one of the disconnects.
Yeah.
Like we've lost who we are. So they say we're too busy all the time. We need to reconnect with ourselves, and then once we're comfortable with that, we need to move into sensuality because that is also part of who we are and part of what's been so taboo and disregarded. But that is the feminine energy, sensuality. So that's right up the pleasure pole's alley.
Yeah. I love how you're breaking those two sessions activities down too, because I think we also think of sex as something that, I mean, you can just hop into it, right? Like you can just just do it, right? But do you get the most pleasure
Let's
necessarily
talk about it.
that way?
Let's talk about it.
Does it improve the
Here for another hour,
experience?
Roma, don't start. You know?
Yeah, right. Does it improve the experience if you get to know yourself, if you're
Yes.
connected with who you are, especially some of those feelings, because there's so much that you can feel in your body, so much more that you can feel in your body when you are fully in your body. Yeah. So
Very much so.
I'm looking forward to it. But anyways, okay. So switching to pelvic issues. You got it. Go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead.
I found it really, I just really loved I love that question because that question that you asked it's the future. So you see how when you ask that question, Roma, it's such a powerful, nurturing question. Because the question basically says, well, once I come to this event, what am I going to take away from this that I can continue moving forward with? And the reality of it is, that's why it's in those moments where you get to learn what devotion looks like, because devotion grows capacity. Right? Without devotion, you cannot grow your capacity. But in order to have that devotion, you need to have the tools, right? So yes, we may do a yoga session with you once or twice, 2 times, throughout the weekend. By the time you start doing yoga maybe every day, or doing breath work every day, or learning what it is to feel, whether through tap-in every day, it doesn't feel good. You start to go through this breakthrough. It feels like a breakdown, but it's actually really a breakthrough. And so once we get started with what these tools look like, then people have the awareness to say, okay, you know what? Maybe I can find a meditation community on island. Maybe there is what does that look? If they know, then they can explore it. Because they are spaces that exist on this island for that. It's just, it's so hidden,
Or
you
they
know?
don't, again, feel
And
like
in
it's for
between,
them.
yeah.
Right, that
like
that
a bit of
part,
taboo,
because
you know?
when I learned that you were doing yoga, I was like, great, because honestly, we know the roots, the origins of yoga, right? We know how yoga has been commercialized and all of these things.
Yeah.
We know how entering yoga spaces, even like Pilates, is one of those big conversations now where the people that you see in those spaces look different. They almost feel not welcoming. So I was like, oh yeah, somebody who looks like me doing yoga with the understanding of our communities too. So yeah, go
I
ahead.
wanted to say something before. So in terms of like community, that's the
Yeah.
key word. So that's the thing is like a lot of people feel like, oh, it's only me. I'm the only one that thinks this way, and I don't have a community. And that's the other thing that we want to create. We want to show you, once you come together, how many things you have in common. And the other thing I wanted to say is, this is not us taking care of you. This is us teaching you how to take care of yourself. Because a lot of times we also put that power outside of ourselves. And that's something that we have to reclaim, that we take care of ourselves, and we need to learn how to nurture ourselves, and we need to learn to listen and understand ourselves.
Yeah.
Most of the joy that you have in life comes from that internal experience, and that's what most of us aren't having. But it's also nice to have community around it. So that's what we're creating.
Yeah.
And that's what the feminine energy is, Roma. It's receptivity, removing that blockage of that cycle of self-sabotage. I'm not doing that because I'm afraid of this, I'm that. It's just the mind. It really doesn't exist. When you remove the layers of the mind, the spirit tells you, just be, just do it. Just have fun. Just experience it. But when you remove the mind, it's like, I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know if I'm going to be dressed good enough in it.
When you lie down and start thinking about it.
It's so loud. It's so noisy. You really don't get to feel. And to feel is like, it's because yoga means to unite. It's communities are all around us. Like tribes and communities, they're all around us. When we remove that layer of judgment, then we can find it.
Okay, so Miss Elliott, Anastasia Elliott walked in. Please introduce yourself. I'm sure people know you, but introduce yourself and yeah.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Anastasia Elliott. I am the CEO and co-founder of Sugartown Organics. Most of you know me by my brand name, Yaffine. My name is Anastasia, though.
Not Yaffine.
Oh, Yaffine.
Okay. All right, Yaffine. Anastasia.
All right, so tonight we're talking about sunrise and stillness. It's a wellness retreat that I thought up with the help of Nadia. I was working with Nadia, and what she took me through to help me heal, because I've had issues from being in an accident when I was a child, and there were certain things that I was dealing with, and I went to a program that she was doing on physiotherapy. And what she was talking about, I was experiencing. And I went, never heard anybody say this before, right? So I went up to her and I introduced myself and I told her, well, I've listened to you speak and a lot of what you're saying I'm experiencing. Can we get together and see what you can do for me? And she was flying back out, so we had to do that virtually on the phone. And she was able to help not just me, but my mom and my daughter as well, right? And I started thinking, like, a lot of women come into the store having similar issues. And they're going to the doctor for medication, and they're still having issues. So maybe we can create a space where they too can get answers. They too can find ways that they can help to heal themselves. And so that was the reason why we came up with this idea of the retreat.
Okay. That's also, I think that's great background, especially rooted in personal, at least at first, experience, but expanding that to other people who... other people who are experiencing it but might not realize that there is a way through the discomfort that they're feeling. I think
another thing. Like I said, we always looking for medicine. We're looking for
Yeah.
Like I said, I have to be careful because I exist in the medical world, but my mind works this way, right? And so I see things that your typical doctor or therapist will not see because I'm one of those rooted and grounded people. And so there are answers, and everything has its value, but like I said, you have to know a little bit of everything to be balanced, and so that's important to have a more like full picture.
Yeah.
to
Roma,
truly
you
please
mentioned
them.
discomfort. The discomfort is where we grow. We're always so busy trying to run away from it. Oh, I feel this pain. Let me take this. Oh, I have this headache. Let me just take this, take that. It's usually a message from the body. We're always running from the discomfort, but in the discomfort is where you find what you need to sit in the discomfort for some time. Maybe you need to hit rock bottom for some time. You need to feel it to heal it.
See what your body's telling you.
Yeah.
It talks to you all the time.
I think that is especially true of pelvic health work, because I know I did this sex ed certification and we had a session on pelvic health, and it was like, connect with your pelvic area, and it was like, I've never even really thought about it. And it was also about how many medical issues or physiological issues are connected to the pelvic area that you probably would not discover from going to a general practitioner. So it was just like,
Very central it is.
just amazing, interesting, very intriguing stuff. And I think
When are we going to talk about sex?
when we're gonna talk about sex, okay, let's start. Let's dive in. Let's dive in. What do you tell me?
Well, we're here to talk about pleasure.
Okay.
See, and that's the thing. The last time I came on, like I said, again, the topic is so interesting.
Yeah.
We got into a lot of stuff. But we're here, honestly, pleasure is that feminine energy. Like I say, sensuality, sexuality, they are very closely related to each other. And even in the sense that we don't even have to talk about sex like in a penetrative
Right.
nature. You can have like amazing orgasms without any type of penetration, just from smells, from touches, from taste, from breathing.
From the breath.
These are the things that people need to know.
Okay, so talk about it.
I give myself
Talk about it. Talk
I have
about
a steady
it.
orgasm
here she
just
is.
from the breath.
Talk about it
know?
then.
This right up her
Because
alley.
I thought we were talking about it. I thought by talking about like wellness and all these things in general, that we were getting into the pleasure and stuff, because
Okay.
I can't.
We're only here for an hour?
Yeah, we're only here for
Yeah,
an
it's
hour.
just an hour. Okay, you want to get explicit? Go ahead.
So how does this event help you to have a better sex life?
Yes.
That's the question. Mohini, take the stage.
Whoa. It's going to get a little personal here.
Well, than you.
One of the things that I realized is, just from my own experiences, I thought back when I was young, in my younger days, in my college days, I thought about my sexual life then compared to my sexual life now, for example. I remember going through this period of celibacy also because I really wanted to discover myself. And in this period of celibacy, I started practicing tantric, and I actually started making love to myself. I would sit in front of a mirror and make love to myself. So I would have a moment where in doing that, it would bring me to tears. And that's when I realized, well, wait, there's something deeper behind this, right? What is it that sexually needs to be unleashed or unlocked or needs to be paid attention to so that I can actually have the greatest sex ever, you know? Not the type where I'm just trying to scratch that itch, you know? Or where I'm just trying to relieve my tension so I can get back to life when life gets to life in, and that component is not there, so that I am choosing how to be mindful in that manner of my sexual awareness. What does it feel like to make love to myself? I come across a lot of women, they would tell you, I ain't doing that. I'm not touching myself. I'm not gonna do this or do that, but there is a space within us that is activated through our sexual energy.
Very creative.
When we look at a powerful woman, and we can, and you could tell a woman that's having great sex.
It's true.
You know?
It's
Like,
true.
you
And
could,
very offensively, people would also be like, you need to have some backed up.
you know?
Yeah.
You know? And then there's also those moments where you're having sex and you come out of it and you feel depleted.
Yeah.
You feel drained. You feel like something was taken away from you.
Waste of time.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, and what does that look like? How do we first even know what any of that looks like? How can we first know what feels good to us? How can we first know what to ask for? How can we first bring ourselves to our most wildest orgasms unless we know what we want within ourselves? How can we tell someone, this is where you need to go? This is what you need to do. Don't stop. Stay there.
Keep going. That's right.
How do we do that unless we know what it looks like within our bodies? We first has to focus on us, but we get there by quieting the mind. We get there by coming into the body, into what it feels like in the body. We have to learn how to feel. We've been taught to block. Don't feel that. When sadness, when anger, when frustration, when these emotions come up, don't feel that. Don't cry. We're not taught to feel, but in learning what it is to unlock these emotions and open up these different meridians that are inside the body, that's when we're able to flow. So how is it that we have a way of trying to move life instead of being moved by life? We have a way of trying to move life instead of moving with life. But how can we do that unless we slow it down? Unless we pause, unless we take a deep breath and say, what am I feeling? So the reality of it is, I say all of that to say, how can we get to that space of mind-blowing orgasms if we don't even know our own bodies? How can we get to those space of mind-blowing orgasms if you're laying there and you're in your head, it's going to take you a minute to get to that orgasm. You may not even get there.
Yeah, if you even get there.
You know? Because we're so in our heads and in our minds instead of our hearts and our bodies.
And again, from my perspective also, learning our body. Like, we don't even know what's there. You know, so understanding the anatomy. So again, me clinically.
Which is
understanding
fine.
the anatomy, what it does, what it's for. And then, like you said, exploring it. And experiencing it without shame, because that's the other thing is like, oh, don't look at it, don't touch it, don't do nothing to it, leave it for your husband, you know, if we get to that level. So understanding and knowing your body, what it's for, what it does, and there's nothing shameful about it because that's what it's designed to do. So like I say, it's just this triad right here. It's a powerful experience,
Anything you want to add?
Well,
I deal with the herbal side of
okay,
things,
there you go.
right?
You have some potions.
Yeah.
I do have some potions. I do have some ways to help you ease, because I do get a lot of women come to me and they tell me that they have painful sex, right? And I do sometimes too, right?
You don't have to whisper.
It might be right there in my mouth. It's not whispering, right? So I know the issues, right? Because I see the issues in my customers, right? And I know that they're easy fixes without having to go to surgery or take any type of medication, the things you can do at home, simple exercises, right? And so that's what we're here to offer you.
We harness. When we can learn to harness our sexual energy, we become more creative, we become more transformative, we become more powerful. When we are able to hone our sexual energy and know exactly what that looks like and what that feels like, it's actually a ritual. It's sacred. It's really a moment when if I'm having sex, I'm manifesting $10,000. I'm in the middle of sex and I'm like, you know what? May this orgasm bring me $10,000.
And a house.
I utilize that. I utilize that energy for the manifestation of my heart's desires, because
That's not in her head. That's in her heart. Still in her body. In her
my
heart.
heart is telling me within that moment, you know,
This is the moment.
yes, you know, because that's what the energy is, though. And once I learned that, I'm like, wow. And once I was able to become my most highest self in my sexuality, that's actually when I started manifesting my dream life. That's when it started appearing in front of me. Because then I started knowing what it looks like and feels like to bring myself to that ease and that joy. That way I can manifest it outside of myself. Then you can maybe attract a partner or attract a life of ease and joy. But you first can find that within, and you can do it through an orgasm. You could do it through touch. There's so many ways that we can do it through sex. Our sexual energies are sacred energy. It's even what leads us. They say when a woman is bearing child, she's the portal between heaven and earth. They say it's 1 foot in and 1 foot out because that woman is literally the portal between that energy that we can't see but we can feel and the physical energy here on earth. How do we tap into that? It's through sex. It's through the sacred art of sex.
Right. Yeah, and it's not just, again, physical,
Yeah.
penetrative. Yeah, sex is way more than that.
Keep going. Go deeper. Yeah. Tell me more.
Enjoying
Yeah.
this conversation.
No, I always am
Okay,
because
so-
I listen. Just like Mahini was saying, I have always felt, but I come from more of an academic space that sexual agency, sexual power, sexual pleasure are the key to living a better and more wholesome life. But I feel like when I say it, people are like, interesting. But I feel like sex can be one of the more difficult spaces. How vulnerable is it be to show yourself, share yourself with somebody? And if you can do that fully and confidently, what you can do. That's what I feel.
That's the
But
thing.
yeah.
It's like we've been shamed in this area so much
Yeah.
that we think that it's not a part of who we are. It is a part of who we are. And something I want to say, because my mind kind of scatters sometimes. Good sex or great sex happens, like I say, it's not a physical thing, but it happens with knowledge in terms of. And by the way, you can have great sex by yourself, like Mohini was saying, and that's not even like masturbation. Sex is more than your genitals. Sex is your whole body and your mind and your spirit. But communication with yourself first off, and then communication with your partner, just like she was saying, touch this, do it this way. Being comfortable communicating with the person that you're making love to heightens the experience 100-fold, right? So good communication, and you see, I forgot what the other thing was. My mind always slips. That's why I'm like, but anyway, so good communication and trust. So again, trust in yourself, and that's the thing. It starts with you. We always kind of want to go out and expect somebody else to fulfill us or expect somebody else to give us pleasure. We gotta learn for ourselves how to do that, and then so the interesting Mohini said she learned to make love to herself and then attract a partner. So that we think, and that's the thing, you shouldn't really attract a partner until you know exactly what you want, because you're going to attract things you don't want. So it's very important to get to know yourself first, be comfortable with yourself sensually. So again, like when we say sex, everybody thinks, penetrative. No. Sensually, know yourself, know your essence, know who you are, know how you feel, how you want to feel. Like you said, manifesting. And this is the thing, again, like I say, I am clinical, but I have this spiritual side to me because my whole life I've seen this other side, so I know they both exist. And so when you get into that energy field, because we are energy, when you get into that energy field, like she says, you really, so many things happen today. We've been stressed out. But every time I go, no, we good. Don't worry. The things that are just kind of falling into place, it's like your life literally changes in front of you when you're in a certain energy space. So many things, I'm like, oh, we good. Oh, we good. I was like, oh, yeah, we good. So that's the thing is nothing, we don't really need anything outside of ourselves. We really need to learn ourselves because the answer is within us.
How would you say the reception has? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I remember getting to a point. I remember getting to a point where I realized, if I'm gonna be having sex, it better change my life. It better be life-changing, ecstatic, multi-orgasmic sex, and it better be cash generating too. Okay. And once I discovered that that's what sex could do for me, there was no end to that. But that's what great, amazing, mind-blowing, multi-orgasmic sex looks like. It would change your life. It's either you're going to change it for the highest good of all, including yourself, or sex could really, that's a whole other conversation, huh? Maybe I should stop right there.
Yeah.
Okay.
No drawbacks.
No?
No. Yeah. I hear you.
There's a side, and we get to choose. We do get to choose. Because I know some people, some of us are just doing it just for sex, right? And we come out of it, like I said earlier, feeling depleted and drained. It wasn't even fulfilling. But I heard someone say something, it made me laugh. They said, when I'm having sex, I'm seeing God. That's where I'm like, you know what?
Yes.
That energy, it's so powerful. It's almost like a physical high, And you know what we could do with that? Yeah.
I feel you. Yeah.
You know?
I feel you. Okay, yeah, so Anastasia, I feel you. No, I feel you for real.
Y'all distracting the lady.
No, I feel you.
What was there?
I'm just like, I'm dear. Me,
Roma should have
okay.
needed 2 hours.
So tell me, how the reception has been. We've talked about different parts of the activity. One is being rooted in heritage, and I don't know if you also want to speak to that. Nadia was talking about your natural remedies and your products that are made from the earth around us. So I don't know if you want to speak to that, but tell me how the reception has been so far, people's openness, all of that.
I think people are unsure what to expect because it's the first one. And you know how we are. We want to see it first before we buy it.
Yeah.
That way. And then those who are, they come very last minute and you're rushing to accommodate. I really wish you all will not do that.
Yes.
Okay.
Because planning, it makes it difficult to plan for you. But that doesn't mean, right? You're going to be learning a lot about herbal medicine, right? So you're going to learn from me, and there's another young lady, Shabina from Nevis, who'll be by, and she's
Native Radiance.
Native Radiance.
Okay.
She's been racking up those babies,
Mm.
right? Helping everybody to get pregnant. Please, not me. Yeah, so you'll be learning from her as well. We'll be learning about poultice making, right? So there's quite a bit for you to learn on the herbal side, not just the tantric and the medicine and all of that, but things that you can do, herbs that you have at home, herbs that you have in your kitchen that you can use to help yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why it says rooted in heritage because it's what we grew up with, right? It's the herbs that we have around us. It's bringing back that knowledge from our foreparents, how they heal themselves, and how we too can heal ourselves, because the things still work. They still work and they're around us, so they're free. You have to just
True.
spend 150 to a doctor and you have to go back again,
Yeah.
right? We just ask you to be consistent with what we're teaching you and your application of it.
Mm.
So that is where your healing will come. Not stop when
Right.
you feel better. I find a lot of people do that. As soon as they feel better,
Yes.
they stop.
Yeah.
No, you need to keep going. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Roma, I remember, have you ever heard of the affirmation, I deserve pleasure?
I can't say I have. I've heard I deserve.
Okay.
Full stop.
When I first heard I deserve pleasure, it felt uncomfortable.
Mm.
And then I was taught, say this every day in the mirror for 90 days straight and see what comes up for you. And there was some discomfort. But as I kept going, I realized it started to become this ultimate tool for healing.
Mm.
You know, I deserve pleasure. Do I really deserve pleasure? You know, I realized that we deserve pleasure. We deserve pleasure. Are we on pleasure pulse?
We are on pleasure
You know?
pulse.
I deserve pleasure. And I think every single woman should be saying that every single day to themselves. I deserve pleasure, and see what comes up for them.
Mm.
I want to add to that. So there's 3 of us here, so we're the ones organizing it, but there are also components of nutrition because that is key. And we also have a mental health provider coming in to speak on topics too, because like I said, we are addressing every aspect of our life. Some of us, we're really good at one thing and we think, okay, if I keep on this one thing, I got it. And then we neglect everything else. So we're really, like I say, hitting it from all components. And what I teach is easy. What she teaches is easy. Everything is easy, but sometimes things are so easy that we choose not to do them.
It's almost like it's too easy.
It's too easy.
Yeah.
And the answer is like, oh, that can't be it. 'cause
And
it's
it
too
it
easy.
goes back to the I deserve pleasure, because I would
Yeah.
also add I deserve ease. And we feel like if things
Yeah, life
too
should be
easy, then
yeah.
we're on the right path.
Right.
Yeah.
And so if we can do these easy things, because like she said, I just told her what to do. I didn't touch her. I didn't do nothing. I didn't send her no medicine. I just said, okay, do this.
Mhm.
And she did it, and it worked. And then we moved on to her mother, and we moved on to her daughter, and it worked. So simple things and I tell people all the time, the answers are simple. We complicate life way too much. You know, you look on TV, it's like, oh, take this for this, take this for this. we had healing before all of these medications. We had healing before all of these devices. Our bodies are very simple. Our bodies, our minds, and our spirit, they're designed very simply. And that's all we need to do is we need to go back to that base model and keep doing it. Yeah, it's not something you take one time and like, oh yeah, I feel better, so I'm going to stop now. No, you feel better because you're doing it.
Yes, keep going.
Is that it? Is that
It's
answers
like
are
climbing a
super
mountain,
simple.
and then you get to the point where you go, oh, this is too much. I can turn back and it's right there. Right there.
No, but I'm like,
Yeah, it's right there.
no, but I'm like, what do you mean? I have to continue it forevermore.
But if somebody could
Like
give
drinking
you-
neem. My aunt swears by neem, and anything can't matter. To be honest, I'm like, let me get some neem. Let me recommend it to all my friends. And so,
this is
but
part of the problem. We
can
wait
I
until
sustain that?
We wait until something
Is
is
wrong,
wrong,
yeah.
something is broken.
It should be a part of your routine,
Right.
Not an everyday thing.
We should be
Because
proactive,
Your
yeah.
grandmother used to give you one medicine every day. No, she give you one in a cycle.
Yeah, and castor oil,
Yes,
they don't give you when something happens.
Life was cyclic.
However, yeah.
Summertime,
Some of
get
you
your
home,
castor
you
oil,
home
your
from
birthday,
school, you outside playing in the dot, you playing in all kind of things, get yourself in all kind
Yeah.
of problem. And the time to go back to school, bap, she drop it on you.
Me and
You're
the
not,
castor oil
you're not having
this.
it every day, but it's part of the cycle of
Yeah.
you growing and of you maturing and of you living. Because it's what is helping to keep. I find a lot of people don't detox now, which is why we have such big
Well,
problems.
and they
especially with
do
cancer. We don't
the
detox.
so-called detox. You know, they
Yeah.
stress out their bodies.
Yeah.
That's what we're doing right now. We are just adding stress to our bodies constantly. And then we feel like, oh yeah, something feels good. But then you go back and you do exactly the same thing that
were
made
doing
you
before.
toxic in the first place.
Mm.
So what did that change?
But I mean, I guess there's something to say about the environments within which we live, though. I think the work that you're doing is important. The reality of the world is something else. So I guess that's also making me want to ask, how are you teaching people to live in the world that we live in?
Well, remember, like I said, the answer is simple. It's not complicated at all. We're going to teach about breathing. We're going to talk about presence. We're going to talk about food. You got to eat food every day. We're going to talk about movement. These are the basic things that we need
Yeah.
to live and survive. Like I said, there's nothing high-tech or complicated that we need to live our best life. Yeah.
We talk about devotion. Devotion is what grows capacity. The same way we devoted to carnival. In fact, when it's coming along and we get our bodies in proper shape for it, you know? That devotion to go and wind our waists is this. We're really supposed to be waking up and winding our waists every day.
Yeah.
That's right.
We're supposed to put on that music, that drumming music, that like and whine and move our hips and our body. That thing that we feel during carnival, we have access to it every day.
Yeah.
Then you don't have to go pay for a gym membership.
It's
That,
true.
and sometimes that may just mean if you're waking up at 6 and you have this to do, that to do, mommy life, businesswoman, wake up at 5. Put in the work and then outwork the work.
No, but you could dance while you're cooking, you know?
You can. Yeah.
And find those little time snippets in between to pause and slow it down. We're not missing anything. If it's lunchtime and we take 5 minutes to just move our hips and whine, what else would we be doing in that 5 minutes? We have, the time is there. Yeah, definitely. That's it.
That's a good lunchtime thing. I like that.
Then I have a cookie at work.
You know?
That could work too. That could work too.
Man, tell her you're going to turn a cookie at work. Okay, to wrap up, because we're a little over time, but you know, we started a little late, so I want people to get their full hour. As a sneak peek, what would you say are some practices that people can employ at home and in their daily lives to improve their sexual wellness, especially? A sneak peek.
I would love to give an example. I would like to give an example. I feel as if one of the first things you could do in the morning is wake up and pause, right? Take a pause. Take a deep breath in and hold the breath. Hold it in your body. Maybe send it to different parts of the body. Because when you hold that breath, you're going to start to, these little subtle sensations are going to start to come up. You start to feel them. The more you pause and breathe, the more you feel the sensations. That sensation may be in your vagina, your yoni, as we call it. And maybe you need to send a breath there to start the day. Sometimes I believe that the first thing you should do, you should be intentional about it. What is the first thing that we're doing? If we can pause and take a look at what is it, grabbing your phone? Is it maybe like brushing your teeth? But sometimes it's really just the breath, that very first thing. If we pause and we take the breath every single day and observe it and train the mind to pause and observe the breath and send the breath to different parts of the body, over time, we become into a natural meditative state. So that's one thing that I started doing every single day that I think can benefit so many people. When you first wake up, don't do anything else. In the silence of the morning, when the world is not moving, you may have to get up a little bit earlier. It could be pausing and just watching the sunrise. It's the simple things. How can you get back to presence? How can you come back to the present moment, the actual awareness of the right here and the right now? It means to pause. And if you're not going to pause throughout the rest of the day, then at least when you first wake up, you could intentionally take that pause. Set an alarm, put a 30-day challenge, a 60-day challenge of your phone reminding you, hey, you just woke up, pause. Train the mind to start the day with breath, with awareness. That's a really great way. That's just one of the tools, is to train the mind to slow it down.
Okay.
Especially on these cold mornings, because they get up and be like, oh,
Yeah. What would you add in terms of activities that people can use that do at home and regularly to improve their sexual wellness?
Everybody watching.
Well, she's asking you.
I know she's asking me, but y'all let me take myself for the conversation earlier.
I believe.
Okay,
I believe every morning we should have an orgasm.
Okay.
Because whether my beautiful husband is there or not, and he had to get into his masculine energy, it's a little rose toy close by.
Okay.
I believe that it's so, and it happens really quickly too.
Yes.
You could
Sorry.
Sorry. Oh, did we go back on sex? Well, wait, Roma, what are you
I did ask about sexual wellness.
Okay. Because I went right back to sex.
Yeah, no, it was appropriate. I did ask about sexual wellness. So,
Start
yes.
the day with an orgasm
A
every
breath
day
and an orgasm.
for 60 days
And an orgasm.
and tell me what changed in your life. Because I know it's going to be some changes, honey. I know it's going to be some changes.
Okay.
I agree.
Let me go. Okay.
Well, the simple thing I would like to add is the same concept. Be present in your body. Become more sensual. When you eat, taste your food, feel your food, experience, don't just swallow. When you smell, sniff, smell the air, smell yourself, smell the things around you. See, like, use your senses. These are sensual, right? And when you become more inside your body and aware, everything, just like I was saying, breathe, learn how to breathe and put it in different parts of your body. We just need to really turn inwards. We need to be present. We need to pause. We need to be still. That's the one thing that we're not doing.
Just
So
slow down.
turn on your senses, and like she said, when you have your daily orgasm, see if it's not like a million times better.
Yes. And once a month, I create space for you to come and do that and create. Be creative. We slow down. We slow it all the way down. Right? You could ask Jihan. We slow it all the way down. I call her name, yes. You slow it all the way down, and we create that space where you can just be easy. Right? You can just be easy. You can create. You can relax. There's no stress. Nobody harassing you. And we just create whatever sensual thing you want to create that day. Because it's up to you. I tell you, it's you. Whatever you're creating is you. Don't ask me to create it for you, because I ain't gonna know.
Yeah. So stillness. That's what we need.
Stillness.
And a daily orgasm.
Stillness for your daily.
Daily orgasm. Hey, we should take that line. Stillness for your daily orgasm. I'm writing that down.
Okay. So we are at the end of the show. I really appreciate all of you coming and spending this hour with me, and I loved having a little cackle here and there, a little key, and also getting into some really deep and inspiring stuff, reminding us to connect with ourselves, especially in the midst of connecting with others and prioritizing ourselves as well too. So just remind people when it's fully subscribed or space still. Okay, just remind folks when the activity is, how they can contact you for more information.
Okay, if you guys, can I say it? If you guys are interested, please let us know by tomorrow.
Okay.
Don't wait till Friday.
Okay.
So the website is sunriseandstillness.com. So you can look at the different packages. So there are different offerings for the retreat. Pick whichever one you want. Please get it in by tomorrow because there are things we have to send to you because we need it back from you in time to set everything up. So if this sounds like an experience, and I think it's an experience that everybody really should have. If it sounds like something that you're interested in, please, let us know. Come on in tomorrow. Also, it's Friday to Sunday, but there's the option to come in for like a one day. So you can either come in on Saturday or Sunday. So if you can't make it for the whole weekend, there's still a full immersion that you can have in one of the sessions.
Physical tickets are available at ITAL Creations.
No, because we can't track them anymore.
So no.
Go to the website.
You gotta go to the website.
Yeah, because we can't,
Okay.
All right.
People, we're 2 days away. Please don't do this to us.
Okay. Go to the website.
Go to the website
And find all the
sunriseandstillness.com.
information there.
You get all the information there. Pick your ticket, pay for it.
Yeah.
I'll get a notification of your name. I'll send you your email that you need to respond back to me with, the things that I need. And then we go from there. And we're looking forward to seeing everybody on Friday evening for our
Okay.
first.
Thank you so much again for joining me, and thank you to all our listeners, viewers, for sticking with us for this conversation that I said, was really, I think, a different conversation, but a necessary conversation. And I hope that we can make space for more conversations like these, where we get into the spiritual elements and all of these things, and we leave them feeling, like we could change the world with an orgasm. With an orgasm. Thank you all so much. As usual, I'm going to wish you a pleasurable evening, and I'm going to see you all next time.